Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
There it is! Hey! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Unproduced Table Read here on the Popcorn Talk Network. This is episode number 2, so if you're just tuning in, thanks, and if you're coming back, we're so glad you're back. What this show is, guys, is we'll be reading some of Hollywood's hottest unproduced scripts, some of the best pilots and features in town to try to get them on screen, or at least bring them to life here in studio. My name is Jeff Graham. I'll be leading the show and picking our scripts and reading the action as we read more and more. If you guys want to find me online, you can do so on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham and Instagram at Jeffrey Crane Graham. I'd love to introduce the rest of my cast before we dive in, so if you guys could introduce both yourselves and who you'll be playing today in the Austrian Detail. We'll start with you, Mike.
Hi guys, I am Mike Kalinowski. You can find me at Mike Kalinowski, Twitter, Instagram. Today I'm reading Casper, Cole, and also Guy.
Hey everybody, I'm Timothy Michael. You can find me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike, and I will be playing Billy Idol and the Spaniard.
Hi, sorry, my voice is there. Hi, I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow, and today I'll be reading for Adelaide Akimbo and Joseph Goebbels.
Hi everybody, I'm Andrew Guy. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Andrew Guy. And today I'll be reading Guy Gunter, bartender, barkeep, and of course, Hitler.
Hey, I'm Haley O'Connor. You can find me on Twitter at Haley O'Connor, and that's Haley with 2 Y's. If you don't use 2 Y's, you're not 2 Y's. I am reading for Olga, Greta Garbo, and Bossman.
Hi guys, I'm Roxy Stryer. You can find me at Roxy Stryer, and I will be reading for Woman, Miriam, Albert Einstein, and Brown Shirt.
Great. So before I introduce my writer, I want to talk a bit about this script. We're reading a hilarious, madcap, over-the-top comedy called The Austrian Detail, aka The Shittiest Job in the World. And it's a premise loosely based on the idea that if you could go back in time to prevent horrible things from happening, would it actually make the world better in the long run? Just so you all know, we thought it'd be important to address, it is actually Holocaust Remembrance Day. Memorial Day, pardon. And with a show like this, we're booking a lot of scripts, a lot of writers, and so sometimes schedules just line up in a specific way, and we had no intention meant to necessarily book this script on that day. But that being said, this is a comedy. It's not meant to offend, and we deeply mourn the lives of all those that were lost. Think kind of Mel Brooks, Matt Stone, Trey Parker. Yeah. That's kind of the tone we're going for today. So with that being said, I'd love to introduce our writer for today, the fabulous Mark Blecha.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming today. I would love for you to talk a bit about your career. I know you've written for USA. I see you even worked with some of the writers in Empire, Public Enemies. Can you talk a little bit about both your experience in the industry and the script reading time?
Yes, basically I've worked in the industry for a long time. I do a lot of script coordinator work and like producer assistant work. It's how I, try and get up to a writer position, which I eventually was able to do some writing for a show called Sirens on USA, which is was an unbelievable show, but got canceled.
Happens.
Yeah.
So for years, this is basically what I do. I work in the writing departments on different movies, different shows. Write your own stuff. And hopefully someday someone will make one of your things or hire you to write on one of their shows.
Absolutely. Well, we love this script, which is probably the reason we chose it for today. So, guys, I think with that, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Let's go ahead. Again, this is The Austrian Detail, a.k.a. The Shittiest Job of All Time. And here we go.
Dun dun dun.
Fade in. Interior bar night. A group of friends drink in a booth, and one guy boldly states,
I'd kill Hitler.
Freeze frame on Guy.
Is what some British noble but misguided so would say every time they're asked. What would you do with the time machine? While honorable, these words are moronic.
Dozens of clocks and babies fill the screen in boxes, a la the Brady Bunch.
Because this would destroy the fucking timeline, and I'm not using fucking as an adjective, I'm talking about actual intercourse. Coitus, if you will. Think about it. A huge percentage of the world's population is the direct result of the post-war baby boom. No Hitler, no war.
The clocks run backwards. The babies morph into different ones.
No war, no baby boom. No baby boom, no us. Completely different people would have been conceived, and a completely different timeline would have been born with them. Of course, this is only a problem if time travel were real. Unfortunately, in the future, it is.
Montage of humans doing stupid shit. Trampled by bulls in Pamplona, shooting a Roman candle out of their ass, attending a Bieber concert. Anything on Tosh.0.
And if a thing can be done, someone will do that thing, no matter how stupid. Because, humans. Which means people have been trying to change the future by going back in time since the ability to travel through it was invented.
Video effects, Galactic Time Bureau flag.
Enter the Galactic Time Bureau, the GTB. Defender of the timeline.
Montage, key people and events, both good and terrible, that interfering with would break... I'm going to take that again. Key people and events, both good and terrible, that interfering with would wreak havoc on history. Caesar, Cleopatra, Pearl Harbor, Edison, Napoleon, Lenin, Franz Ferdinand assassination, Confucius, Genghis Khan, Lincoln, Marie Curie, First Flight, Franklin, Gandhi, Zuckerberg, Catherine the Great, Dick Cheney. You get it.
Protecting key individuals and events, both great and terrible, from time tellers, determined to alter past destinies and all of ours with them.
Music cue, Time Has Come by the Chamber Brothers. Exterior, London Street, 1566, day. Superimposition, London, 1566. 1566 London is no fairy tale Camelot. In fact, it's a shithole, literally. Muddy, shit-strewn streets are clamored with muddy, shit-strewn people and a variety of shit-producing animals. Casper Cole, timekeeper 312, 30s, in 1566 gear with a sword on his hip, runs down a street packed with spectators out for a royal processional at Westminster Abbey, ahead in the distance.
Those sent into the past to preserve the future are known as timekeepers. This is the story of one of them and his days on the Austrian detail, also known as the shittiest job of all time.
Plop. Cass steps directly into a steaming mound of animal waste.
Oh, shit.
Cut to Cass as he struggles to shoulder through the mob. He catches foul whiffs of the filthy peasants as he pinballs between them.
Shit.
Cut to a woman who calls out from the second floor above.
Shit!
Splash. The contents of a chamber pot splatter in front of him. He looks to the heavens with a sigh. Aha, the rooftops. Cut to Cass bolts across the rooftops, gracefully leaping from building to building until one leap ends with the crack of a rolled ankle and him going down in a painful heap.
Shit.
Inside every timekeeper are millions of nanomites that enable them to do cool stuff, such as heal quickly. Blue text scrolls across his vision in a heads-up display, aka HUD. Warning, severe high ankle sprain nanomite regeneration engaged.
Shit.
Cut to, Cass bounds onto the building across from the church just as the royal carriage arrives. Queen Elizabeth I exits to cheers. Cass intensely scans the crowd for someone. There, not 20 feet from the queen, stands a non-cheering Spaniard. The Spaniard reaches for something in his cloak. It's a hit. Cass sees a rope that strings St. George flags from his building across to the church. He pulls his dagger and rushes for it. He cuts it, puts the dagger in his teeth, and swings down towards the Spaniard, who pulls a flintlock pistol and takes aim at Elizabeth. Cass's eyes go wide. He's not going to make it. Only one hope left. Cass hurls the dagger at the gunman. Bullseye! It lodges deep into the gun hand. Bam! The Spaniard reels in pain as the gun goes off. The shot goes well high. Cass follows through and knocks the assassin flat with the boot to the head. Guards rush the Spaniard and begin to pummel him. The crowd cheers. Someone raises Cass's arm in triumph. He turns, and it's Queen Elizabeth. The crowd goes nuts. He digs it.
Shit.
Interior Galactic Time Bureau headquarters. Okimbo's office. Out of time. Super Galactic Time Bureau. 1500 AD to 2000 AD. Division. It looks like our modern offices. Director Adelaide Akimbo, Jamaican, sits behind her desk with Cass across. He's still dressed in his dirty 1566 wear, and she's not buying a word of it.
Bullshit.
Exactly how it went down, Director.
No sale. He gives a shrug that cops to it.
All right. But I could make that sick-ass dagger toss if I had to.
Oh, that was the most absurd part of the fallacy.
You know what wasn't a fallacy? The shit and the stink. It's everywhere. I was talking to this one guy in a pub who had shit on his face. No, hey, not, hey man, you got some shit on your face. Hey man, you've got shit on your face. A piece of shit. Didn't care, no one would do. And they stink. Oh my god, the stink.
Oh, I'm aware. You smell like you had sex with a goat.
I didn't have sex with a goat.
Multiple goats?
Blow me.
Oh, that what you said to those poor goats?
There were no goats. It was pigs.
Now, I'm afraid to ask, but technically I have to. What really happened?
Truth is, I tracked the time teller to a farmhouse.
Exterior pigsty, London countryside, 1566 day. Cass stands at the edge of a pigsty crammed with massive pigs. The thing is a muddy sea of shit and slop.
Give it up, man. You're caught. Come on out of there.
The Spaniard's head pops out from behind a pig.
No, senor.
He drops back out of sight.
Seriously gonna make me coming after you?
Repeating the head pop up and drop down.
Si, senor.
Moments later, the two wrestle amidst the pigs and slop until Cass knocks the Spaniard cold. As Cass plops down in the slop to catch his breath, a pig starts to lick his filth-covered face. Interior GTB headquarters, Akimbo's office, back to scene. Akimbo laughs. Casper's not pleased.
I demand a transfer to a time that has toilets.
Oh, fine.
2 years I've been back there. I was born in the 1980s. Wait, fine?
That's why we brought you in.
Okay, what's the catch?
Emergency. In 1928. We're putting you on the Austrian detail. Gonna need you to guard out Adolf Hitler.
Shit.
Interior GTB headquarters, quartermaster, out of time. It looks like a Gap, but with 1928 clothes. A buck-naked Cass browses, Akimbo trails. He gets dressed as their convo goes. On his ass.
Only man for that job, my ass.
He turns around on full display and she averts her eyes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this making you uncomfortable? Kind of like having to protect the life of the worst person ever might make one feel uncomfortable.
Well, this is an honor. Ops like this are the reason most keepers join up.
Then send them. One of your faithful who's in it for the cause.
Oh, he did, and now he's in the wind.
Spitballing, but maybe that's because you made him do the worst job ever. Cleaning the floor of a peep show with your tongue is a better gig.
That is not now, nor has it ever been, an occupation.
Clearly you've never been to 20th century Japan.
Look, the Austrian detail has a way of testing faith. People fail test. People lose faith, which is why we need someone who is in it for personal gain, not ideals.
When did they change the definition of extortion to personal gain?
You broke the rules. We gave you a choice. Come work for us or face the consequences that come with breaking of said rules. You opted for the former. Are you saying you're not choosing the latter?
You know I can't do that, and you know damn well why. Still, there's got to be someone else. Who's the computer's second pick?
No one.
No one. That's not even possible.
It is. If you're already there.
Akimbo taps her watch. A poster on the wall morphs into a grainy newspaper pic of a smiling Hitler with a frowning Cass.
That is the worst Photoshop I have ever seen. What did you do that on, Windows 95?
She gives him a come on look, and he knows he's fucked.
Shit.
Interior GTB headquarters briefing room day. Think White House Situation Room. Cass and Akimbo sit before a wall of flat screens. Akimbo taps her watch and a photo of a helmet OTT, obscene unibrow pops up.
Meet Timekeeper 786.
That unibrow needs to meet a razor.
Operates under the name Helmet Out.
It's almost hostile.
Missed his check-in on 16 November.
It looks like it knows what I'm thinking.
Cass shifts back and forth like one would do to determine if the eyes in a painting were following them.
Are you listening?
Yeah. Ghosted on the 16th. It just moved.
Akimbo rolls her eyes and taps again. A 3 flat pops up.
Last known address, 1337 Wellstrasse. And the trail goes ice from there.
And what you're telling me is one of 4 things. 1, someone took him out. 2, he couldn't handle the stress, so he skipped town. 3, he's on the run from someone, all of which leave Hitler wide open. And 4, as if those weren't bad enough, he's gone native, joined up with the schnitzel-eating psycho, and now Uncle Eddie has full knowledge of every mistake he ever made that will cost him the war as well as the Allied plans. That the Danny we're whistling here?
Impressed with his deduction skills, she clicks again and a 1928 ID with Cass's photo pops up.
Like I said, only man for the job. Mission is twofold. Find Alt and, of course, keep your principal alive. You're now Brickell Cole, reporter for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Back then, Wisconsin was lousy with crowds eager for news from home.
Brickell?
Traditional Bavarian name means he who lives next to a small bridge.
In English means he who never got laid. Knew a German kid named Casper growing up. Chicks loved him.
Whatever. You can be Casper Cole.
He was in a band, faced like a pepperoni pizza that had been chewed and spit back out. Didn't matter. Still loved him. Fucking musicians.
Interior GTB headquarters time travel room, out of time. Cass stands in an elevator. Beside it is a red button with a display below that reads, Munich, 16 November, 1928, 5 p.m. Akimbo holds a tray. ID, cash, photo of Ott, knife, and Luger. Cass pockets them all except the Luger. He points it at her.
Then and where is the inflation?
She hands him a small vial with blue liquid in it.
Ugh, terrible. German language patch for your nanomites. Automatically translates English to German and vice versa for you. It's not perfect though. Poor German from a non-native will come across as broken English. And locals who speak a more guttural German may have an accent.
German? Guttural? Oh, unheard of.
He drinks it.
Did you ask for the special? Did you add the special program I asked for?
Yes, even though it is ridiculous.
I'm traveling back in time to protect Adolf Hitler. The ridiculous train left the station a long time ago.
Cass presses between his thumb and his finger. His heads-up display pops up. Translator on. 20th century German. Okimbo pushes the button, then doors start to close.
And remember, it's only the lives of pretty much everyone you've ever known on the line. But no pressure.
Scheiße.
Exterior alleyway, Munich, 1928 night. Gunter, 30s, a grime-covered wino in a raggedy old army jacket, sips from a brown-bagged bottle by the dumpster. A ping rings, then Cass pops up out of that dumpster. Gunter greets him.
Gunther,
Casper.
Cass climbs out as Gunter examines the dumpster.
is this your place? Nice.
Thanks. Well, Strauss?
4 blocks.
Cass nods and starts down the alley. He calls back.
It's all yours, Gunter.
Gunther's?
Gunter's.
Gunter smiles as he lovingly strokes and takes in the new digs.
Gunther's.
Exterior 3-flat, Munich, 1928 night. Cass stands outside Ott's building. A sign in the first floor window reads, "For rent, inquire within." Interior apartment, Munich, 1928 night. Cass snoops around. Place has bare-boned furnishings, but no personal items. He finds a suit in the closet. He goes through the pockets and finds a matchbook from Cabaret Edelweiss. He notices a bullet hole in the wall. Bam! A gunshot hits right next to it. He spins to see Olga, 70s. She has an eye patch and a long scar down one cheek. She's Eastern and not a native German speaker, so her words translate into broken English.
Whoa, Tex.
What do you do here?
I saw the flat was for rent.
So you let self in? This not the social norm.
Sign says inquire within. I'm inquiring within.
She shrugs. Can't argue with that logic.
Crown molding all original, closet space speak for itself.
He thumbs toward the suit.
Are these the previous tenants?
You want I give for 50 marks.
He's not coming back for him?
He gone.
As in moved in or gone as in gone?
He go say no come back, such is life.
Leave a forwarding address? Sharp suit. Sure you'd hate to lose it.
You like suit 30 marks.
I have all my own clothes, being an adult and all.
Rent 100, I give clothes free.
Journalist, international desk for a paper in Milwaukee.
Beer City, USA.
I hear Milwaukee is the Paris of Milwaukee. Why leave that for this?
I go where they send me. It's a do what they say or else kind of deal. Apparently there are some interesting things happening here.
Interesting is an interesting word for them.
Speaking of, that's what I hear when they say what they say about Cabaret Edelweiss. Is it close?
Not far, just across from where I'm actually going. I can take you.
I wouldn't want to impose.
No, I'm dressed like the teenage dream of a dirty old man's fantasy. I'll take any escort I can get. Even if he has funny ideas about what constitute lovely and interesting, I'll get my coat.
She exits. Olga motions to him and points to her lone eye.
Eye of eagle.
I'll be a complete gentleman.
I will not. Borst for road?
God, no.
Exterior street, Munich, 1928 night. Cass and Miriam talk about Ott as they walk down the street.
He was a quiet man, kept mostly to himself. Poor grooming habits.
And he's simply up and left?
Just how life is since Versailles. Sorry about Olga shooting at you.
I'm sure her bark is worse than her bite.
No, her bite it's bad. Comes from gypsy country in the east. Killed her first man at age 9.
Casper raises an eyebrow.
Bit of a late bloomer, but she made up for it at the siege of Plevna. Slaughtered many Turks during the War of Romanian independence.
How she lost the eye?
Fought a bear back in 79. Got a nice rug out of it, though.
Just having fun or a pathological inability to tell the truth?
The truth? Well, let's just say it can be stranger than fiction.
An aunt coming to live with her niece as she works her way through school after losing her mother to the Spanish flu and father to the Great War. Isn't that strange?
He's right. She nods and impressive.
But using great to describe a war sure is. Remember that time Papa got blown up? That was great.
I think it's in regard to size and scale.
Really? Thanks, Isaac Newton.
You're in the sciences then?
Physics. Start my PhD candidacy at Humboldt University in the fall.
Humboldt? That means you'll be...
In Einstein's department. Brilliant man, surprisingly handsy.
Interior Cabaret Edelweiss, Munich, 1928 night. Classic cabaret. Cass approaches the barkeep with a picture of Ott. On stage, the backup singers go into a new tune. Stranger, stranger, stranger.
Hey, buddy.
Cass turns to the stage for a sec. Something about the song is familiar. He turns back to the barkeep and holds out the pick.
Looking for a friend of mine.
It's hot here at night, lonely, black and quiet on a hot summer night.
No, it can't be. Casper turns to Billy Idol. Casper turns just as Billy Idol emerges from the curtain singing Hot in the City, and the crowd goes nuts.
What the fuck?
Don't be afraid of the world we made on a hot summer night.
Who's that?
This is sensational William Edelweiss.
William Edelweiss?
He owns Cabaret Edelweiss.
I'm a ribbon in the heat now. Munich, hot in the city.
What the fuck?
Interior Cabaret Edelweiss, dressing room, 1928 night. Billy enters and grabs a bottle of whiskey from the bar. A lamp turns on behind him. It's Casper.
That was some show.
Not again. Listen, I'm flattered, but I'm not really into dudes.
Almost as good as the one I caught in 2011 Illinois State Fair, Billy.
You know who I am.
Casper nods. Billy's excited.
I thought I was alone, but you know who I am.
What I really need to know is what the hell you're doing here.
Cass pulls his Luger and motions for him to sit on the couch. Billy raises his hands and nods. He takes a step, but stops.
Can I bring the whiskey?
That's your response to a stranger pointing a gun at you.
Apparently. Want one?
Just start singing.
Exterior Norm's Diner, La Cienega, 2015 day. Billy rubs his satisfied belly as he walks away from Norm's.
October 8th, 2016. And once again, I had reminded the surf and turf combo at Norm's who the sheriff in these parts really is.
He stops dead in his tracks and lowers his shades to marvel at a Ducati Desmosa DC at the La Cienega Ducati dealership. A sticker reads, $242,000. Billy sneers his trademark sneer. Exterior Mulholland Drive, 2015 day. Billy roars down Mulholland atop the Ducati. Interior Cabaret Edelweiss dressing room, 1928 night.
You bought it. $250,000 bike on a whim.
Yeah, because buying $250,000 bikes on a whim is the kind of shit rock stars do, and I'm a rock star.
Billy takes a swig from the bottle. Exterior Mulholland Drive, 2015 day. Billy rolls on. As an old Duesenberg passes going the other way, then a Model T. He catches up to a Packard in front of him.
At first, I think they're making some period flick. The Great Gatsby 2 is some noise.
Interior Cabaret Edelweiss dressing room, 1928 day.
The Great Gatsby 2. You know he dies at the end of the book.
Like Hollywood gives a shit.
Exterior Mulholland Drive, 2015 day. Billy speeds on, but suddenly skids to a stop.
Anyway, I figured that was afoot. But then the signs pointed towards something else entirely.
Billy looks at the Hollywood sign in confusion. Hollywood Land. Billy looks down over to see 1920s Hollywood.
Initial thought, tainted shrimp. Well played, Norm.
Billy holds his hands out in front of his face as if testing an acid trip. He looks at it all again and shrugs.
But sod it. I've been around the block. Hell, I've been around every block. I'll ride this out, make a day of it. Probably be fun.
Exterior Sunset Boulevard, 1925 day. Billy rides down 1920 Sunset and takes it all in with amazement and trepidation.
Now there are trips, and there are trips. Then there are trips, and then there's trips. And this was no trip.
Billy rolls up to Sunset and Crescent. On a corner is the glorious Garden of Allah Hotel. A paper blows by. He snags it and reads, October 26, 1925?
What the fuck?
Billy starts to take in that this might be real. His sights rest on the hotel. He kicks it into gear and makes for it. Interior Cabaret Edelweiss dressing room, 1928 night.
Thankfully, I'd been a scout as a lad and remembered they taught us the first thing to do in an emergency is procure scotch.
That's a lie. And now, at no point did they ever teach you that.
Interior Garden of Allah, bar, 1925 dusk. A confused Billy converses with a snarky bartender.
Pro what?
Prohibition.
Like from the Untouchables.
The Untouchable what?
Pour my friend here a splash from my private medicinal stock.
They turn around to see a stunning Greta Garbo in her 20s.
Of course, Miss Garbo.
And one for me as well.
Billy and Greta like what they see in each other. Interior Garden of Allah, Greta's room, 1925, next morning. Billy reads the paper with Greta snuggled under his arm.
Hold on. You're trying to tell me that not only you slept with Greta Garbo, but that she picked you up.
Dude, what part of Rockstar are you not getting?
Interior Garden of Allah, Greta's room, 1925, next morning. Billy flips the page to reveal a big picture of Einstein.
This is the cat I got a gem with.
Greta glances up at the paper.
He lives in Berlin. Met him at a film premiere there. Surprisingly handsy.
Still have booze in Berlin, right?
Germans are crazy, but not puritanical American crazy.
Well, then I guess this is where we say auf Wiedersehen.
Hang the do not disturb on the way out.
Exterior rural roadway, 1925 day. Billy roars down the rural highway on his bike.
Greta was kind enough to reward my expert lovemaking services with some traveling funds. Then it was just a matter of motoring east and booking passage to the House of the Hun.
Exterior New Jersey Airfield, 1925 night. Billy rolls up to an airfield where a moored Zeppelin is majestically bathed in spotlights.
Which I secured for free in exchange for my expert songwriting skills.
Interior Zeppelin, dining room, 1925 night. The Zeppelin cruises over the moonlit Atlantic. Billy plays the piano during the black tie dinner services.
This is a little ditty I cooked up this morning. 99 grub balloons.
Billy sings 99 red balloons but replaces red with gray. Yeah, you know, 'cause they're in a gray balloon. An impressed audience member, Morty Epstein, 50s, places his card on the piano. Close-up on card, Morty Epstein, owner, Cabaret 54, Munich. The song plays over the next couple of scenes. Exterior Berlin, 1925 day. Billy rides a streetcar. He looks at a map and hops off in front of the entry sign for Humboldt University. Interior Albert Einstein's office, 1925 day. Einstein sits behind his desk with Billy across from him.
Thanks for seeing me, Doc.
Any friend of Greta's? Sweet, sweet Greta, so cherry. Now, what is it I can do for her idol?
Well, if you have the time, I'd like to tell you a tale about time.
Series of shots of Billy telling Einstein his story in pantomime. Einstein's reactions run the gamut from shocked to amused to dubious to enthralled.
And that brings me here to you.
Einstein puffs on his pipe for a long beat on a deep, thoughtful silence, then points it at the door.
Get the fuck out of my office!
Interior Cabaret Edelweiss, dressing room, 1928 night.
He didn't believe me. No one did.
They never do, and they never will.
Which I learned soon enough. After that, I made my way to Munich and started playing Morty's club. Now, Morty was a sharp guy. He could read the writing on the wall. I made him a fair market offer on the place, and he set sail for greener grasses in the States. So that's what I'm doing here. As in here, but you tell me, mate, what am I doing here as in now?
You must have ridden through a warp tunnel.
What?
I can't get into it because it's confidential, but it's what it sounds like. They'll randomly pop up anywhere, anytime.
And they teleport you through time.
Know how they say thousands of people disappear every year without a trace? Warp tunnels.
I always thought it was aliens.
It's not aliens.
Positive it's not aliens?
It's not aliens.
Because aliens would be bonkers.
It's warp tunnels. Well, 90% warp tunnels, 10% truckers. The interstate is a madhouse. There really should be a PSAs about it.
Holy shit.
Scary, right?
Classified. You said classified. That means you're like a professional time traveler. You're not here on accident. You're here on purpose.
That is also classified.
You are. Did you come in a time machine? Like, is it a DeLorean?
No.
Can you take me back to the future in your DeLorean?
There's no DeLorean.
It's just that being away from what matters most to you.
Hey, I know what it's like to end up stuck across time from the people you love. Now wake up every morning knowing you'll never get to see your little...
I was actually talking about norms.
Casper can't believe what he's just heard.
It's a hell of a diner. Food to prices ratio is insane. So you can do it. You can get me home.
It's complicated, but if you were to help me out with something...
Name it.
Cass holds up Ott's photo.
Know this guy?
Know that unibrow. Comes in mostly with the big Nazi brasses here.
You mean he's with them?
More like a fanboy. Sits at the bar drinking milk looking at him, but trying to make it look like he's not looking at him. Sad, really.
Are you friendly with him?
No, because like I said, he's a dork.
So, if he cleared out of his flat, you wouldn't know where he might have ended up.
I didn't exactly say that.
All right, look, you help me find him, and I'll get you back to norms. Deal?
Billy holds out his pinky for a pinky swear. Cass can't believe it, but relents with a sigh and hooks pinkies.
About a month ago, I'm hunting in the woods, which is code for hooking up with one of the local peasant girls.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I started hearing gunshots. It's that dude taking target practice up at his little cabin.
You have a car?
Rockstar, seriously, bro.
Exterior country road, Munich outskirts, 1928 night. Billy drinks from a flask as they tear down a country road in a kick-ass convertible Mercedes Rockstar Roadster.
Should you be driving?
Don't worry, they haven't invented the DUI yet. We're totally cool.
That's not what I'm...
You can buy cocaine at newsstands here. Premium shit, not stepped on at all. No wonder this country ends up going bananas.
Cass shakes his head as he checks that his Luger is loaded.
Shouldn't you have like a ray gun?
You can't bring external advanced tech into the past.
Classified?
Classified.
But what about my bike?
Well, they had motorcycles in 1928, Bill. Yours might be shinier, but underneath it's still just a motorcycle.
It's a work of art.
I agree. It is an overpriced piece of bullshit that rich assholes, excuse me, rock stars pay too much for.
Philistine.
Later, Billy pulls off the road and points down a faint light up on the hillside. Cass gets out, and Billy does too.
Where are you going?
Back you up.
A lot of experience backing up, do you?
With this face, please. 100% grade A lead singer. Kobe beef.
Keep her running and pop the trunk.
Oh, are we kidnapping this guy?
No. If he's a man, we're man-napping him.
Exterior cabin woods, 1928. A few minutes later, Cass slinks towards the cabin with the Luger in his hand. He creeps up onto the wooden porch and peers in the window. No one. Suddenly, a twig snaps behind him.
Shit.
Cass quickly tries to wheel about, but bam! Helmet Ott cracks him in the forehead with the club. Cass goes straight to the ground. Blood seeps from a gash on his head onto the porch. He stays awake long enough to see a hand reach down and take his gun before he goes unconscious. Ott runs off into the woods as the cut on Cass's forehead starts to close. Nanomites. Exterior country road, Munich outskirts, 1928, minutes later. Billy takes to the local maiden who is passing by on a bike.
It's gonna give your strudel a flakiness you never dreamt possible.
A worse-for-wear Cass emerges from the brush with blood on his dirty shirt. Billy gives him an "I told you so" shake of the head.
Back up.
Later, they speed down the road.
Shit, we're never gonna find him.
He'll be at the rally tonight.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he never misses a Nazi fest.
You didn't think of mentioning this earlier.
I said he was a fanboy. Figured you'd put deuce and deuce together. Didn't you know about it?
Sorry, my bank didn't give out the refrigerator magnet with the 1928 Nazi Fest schedule on it. And where's this thing at?
Oh, it's right across the street from my joint.
Of course it is.
But they're kind of Nazis about who they let into Nazi fest.
I'll get in.
Billy nods towards Cass's bloody shirt.
Not looking like that, you won't.
Let me have your shirt.
And I just drive around bare-chested.
You were topless for the 80s.
Yeah, I did.
Exterior street, Munich, 1928 night. A topless Billy pulls up in front of a beer hall. The area is packed with Nazis ready to rally.
Back up.
Love to, but gotta be on stage in 20. Show must go on.
Fucking musicians.
Exterior beer hall moments later. People clamor behind a rope like it's Studio 54. Cass is being denied entrance by a hulking brown shirt with a clipboard.
My readers, who hail from fine German stock, are keen to learn what's happening in here.
Sorry, not on the list.
Cass opens his mouth to protest.
However, we are in the middle of a membership drive.
Oh,
Not to toot my own horn, but I am currently in the lead. First place is a free trip to a big rally in Nuremberg.
that sounds great, but...
Brown shirt turns the clipboard around to reveal an application.
Application only takes a minute.
I'm just browsing.
Just then, Cass spies Gunther from the alley in the doorway.
Gunther, I'm with him.
Gunther stumbles over with a smile. He's hammered.
He with you?
This man is a saint. He gave me a home when I had none, and returning to me a faith in humanity that I had left for dead among the sea of bloated corpses upon Flanders field, yeah.
Simply yes would have done.
Brown shirt opens the rope. Cass starts to go by, but Brown shirt stops him and holds out some pamphlets.
Take some literature. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, stop by the office anytime and ask for Brickle.
Oh, God. Interior beer hall, Munich, 1928, a few minutes later. It's packed with Nazis. Nazi flags and other, Nazi bullshit. On top, Joseph Goebbels spouts some nonsense. Cass and Gunther make their way into the crowd.
Before you ask, no. I am not with this horde of baboon asses.
What are you doing here?
Got free beer at these things.
Not in this cheese dick factory. It's a steep price to pay for that.
Once let a sailor watch me wank it for a half bottle of schnapps. After that, so gravy.
You should probably never mention that to anyone.
Have you seen?
Ever.
Have you seen a baboon's ass? All red, swollen, hairless. They're terrifying. Cause they make no sense.
Miriam from the flat comes up behind Cass with a tray of beers.
Interesting finding you in this lovely establishment.
This is where you work?
Yeah, it's great. Take one, you're gonna need it.
Cass takes a beer and hands it to Gunther. He grabs one for himself, which Gunther promptly also takes, and Cass snags another.
Smart. Beer hall might run out of beer.
Boss man, Miriam's boss, waves her over.
Miriam, they need you up front.
Enjoy the circus, gents.
She heads off, and the lights suddenly go dark, except for a lone spotlight on Joseph Goebbels.
Here he is now, the man of the hour, the tower of power, Adolf Hitler.
The crowd goes ape shit. The spot points directly behind Cass, where Adolf Hitler makes his way through the crowd. Cass tries to back away, but the surge pushes him right up into Hitler's path. Hitler stops in surprise when he sees Gunther. He greets him like an old friend he hasn't seen in forever, and Gunther could care less.
Gunther? Oh, hi, Hitler. My God, man, I haven't seen you since the sum. How have you been? Drunk? Good, good. Well, not good, but good that you're here and that you've brought friends. Adolf Hitler, welcome.
Stop.
Deutschland. She is what is up. She is what is on the rise. Soon to be great again and back in the heavens where she belongs. Lording above all other nations.
Cool.
The crowd chants, Hitler, Hitler. He theatrically puts his hand to his ear.
Oh, was ist das? I think I hear someone calling my name. Ha! Gunther, will do lunch.
Hitler slaps them on the back, then presses on.
Between you and me, you're probably gonna want to stay from that guy. I gotta go find someone.
Cass goes to leave, but Gunther stops him. He chugs one of his 2 beers, then takes Casper's beer again.
Later.
Intercut between Casper, Gunther, and Hitler as necessary. Cass searches the crowd for any sign of Ott. Gunther stays in place drinking. Hitler is taken to the podium, where he speaks with his ridiculous trademark gyrations and bombast.
I hear you. Deutschland hears you. And soon the world will hear you. Now you all know me. You know my struggle. If not personally, then you know through my best-selling biography of this same name, which is available in the lobby, makes a great stocking stuffer. Grab one for granny.
Casper strains to see through the crowd as he searches for Ott.
But tonight, I want to talk about the struggle of another man. You will not know him by name, yet he is known to all of us. You know him because he's your father, your brother, your son. He's you. He's me. Gunther. Gunther, where are you? Yo.
Gunther raises his hand at the spot, and the spot finds him. Across the room, Casper looks back and shakes his head in disbelief.
This is Gunther, the finest soldier I have ever seen. Winner of the Iron Cross, taker of names, kicker of ass, a berserker. But look at him now, a besotted tramp, a drunken stumblebum. No offense, Gunther. None taken. You ain't lying. He ain't. I am these things, I am.
On Cass, a unibrow flashes deep in the crowd. Did he really just see that? He presses ahead but can't penetrate the mask.
If I were a gambler, I'd wager his last meal came from a rubbish bin. Cans behind the deli up the block, scored half a Reuben. A little dry, but edible. Enough. A little dry, but edible enough. Wow. I want you to all take a bite of that. Don't swallow, just let the flavor settle.
Cass shakes his head at this buffoonery. As he does, he notices a balcony that runs against the wall and he makes for it.
Tastes bitter, doesn't it? We all know that taste, and we all know the painful search for something, anything that will wash it away. Gunther found his solution, 1 part vermouth, 2 parts gin. Behold this creature who used to call himself a man, double-fisting at an open bar. Who does this? I'll tell you. Someone who knows what it's like to have what is his taken from him. Someone afraid it can happen again at any moment. Someone who knows the cold embrace of the knife in the back. The cruel mistress whose acquittance Deutschland had the displeasure of making in 1918, while she remained yet unbowed on the battlefield.
Cass has a complete view of the stage and audience. He intently scans the crowd. He double-takes as he sees Miriam just off the stage with other servers. They all hold fancy steins.
And whose hand so expertly wielded the blade? Who was the architecture of our betrayal? Who robbed us of our victory?
Okay, that's enough of that.
Casper activates his head-up display and turns on the special program he had Akimbo add to the German language patch. It translates Nazi bullshit into utter absurdity. Nazi bullshit translator on.
There is the bunny! He is the thief of the night!
The crowd boos. Casper can't help but chuckle, which draws stares.
Stealing away with all of our eggs in his baskets, hopping back to Candy Castle upon Gumdrop Mountain, where he frolics under clouds of cotton candy that rain jelly beans.
More boos as Cass desperately searches.
Well, listen here, hare. We will brave the lollipop woods, sail the ice cream seas, march on the molasses swamps, penetrate the peppermint forest, capture the cupcake commons, and we will not stop until we have reclaimed all of Candyland.
He sieg hails.
Rainbows and ponies!
Rainbows and ponies! Cass notices one man didn't sneak back. It's Ott, not 20 feet from Hitler. Ott reaches inside his coat. Cass looks at the stage to see Miriam and the servers have brought the beers back to the brass for a toast.
Rainbows and ponies for everyone.
The crowd explodes. Cass sees a rope that strings Nazi flags to the opposite balcony. He pulls his dagger and goes for it. Miriam gives a stein to Hitler and stands next to him right in the line of fire. Cass cuts the rope, puts the dagger in his teeth, and swings toward the Ott as he pulls a Luger and takes aim at Hitler. Cass's eyes go wide. He's not going to make it. Hitler raises his stein. The crowd does likewise.
To Candyland.
To Candyland. Only one hope left. Cass hurls the dagger at Ott. Bullseye. It lodges deep into his hand and the gun fires. The shot goes high and shatters the stein, dousing Hitler and Miriam. Cass follows through and knocks Ott flat. Brown shirts storm Ott and pummel him away as they rush him away backstage. The crowd cheers. Someone raises Cass's arm in triumph. He turns It's Hitler. The crowd goes nuts and cast doesn't dig it.
Shit.
Pop. A camera goes off and the picture freezes. It fades into a grainy newspaper photo, the very same one Akimbo showed at headquarters. The end.
Yeah.
That is a script. So much fun. Mark, I can't wait to dive into this because there's so much to talk about. First of all, the first thing I want to say is I also love Norm's Diner.
It's awesome. It's so
It's
awesome.
awesome.
It's like Billy says, the food to price to
It's-
quality ratio.
Yeah,
is
it's
fucking
insane.
Yeah,
it's
love-
off the charts.
Yeah. I'm bummed because I live on Pico and the one there just closed,
Oh.
so R.I.P. But I kind of want to talk about just the inspiration
Norm's
for
better be
this
paying
script.
us.
I know, yeah. We love Norms. This is one of those scripts that almost on premise alone it feels like a sell.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your inspiration just for this ridiculous logline?
Well, I think initially I was working on something else. And it was just a bit. We're like, because someone brought up time travel. The character is just like,
Yeah.
Everyone says I'd kill Hitler. So it's like, the idea was in my head bouncing around. And then, I'm like, well, that could actually be, a show itself, or it would be a movie or a feature, or a TV show or a movie itself. So then I started working up the idea. And this was like in 2015 when some of the elections started kicking off and some of the more crazy things started happening out there. And I was like, well, maybe, we could do like, in the vein of, like you said, Mel Brooks is a big inspiration. You watch Blazing Saddles, and it's just like, that's the kind of thing I want to do with it.
Absolutely.
Where it's just you take on this absurdity with the heaviest satire you can.
Yeah.
So then I started kicking around the idea and it was in my head. I'm like, I'll sit down and just write the first episode of it, and that's what I did.
I love it. Brooks feels like a huge inspiration to me because I get shades of producers here and there, and it's I love it because if you want to undermine the authenticity, quote unquote, of the Nazi Party, you change it so they're talking about Candyland, and you make Hitler a buffoon. And was that some of your intentions and goals? As you wrote this script?
Definitely. It's just because like I said, I look at what's going on a little bit now today with some of our election processes and how things can happen. Like this is, it's a terrible thing. Everything, World War II and Hitler, but it's just like, this is our world, this is where we live in, and it's the world we've made for ourselves.
Right.
And, we can all wag our finger at it all we want, but I think you can also, approach it from other ways to try to attack it and try to go after stuff like this, and that's through comedy and satire.
Absolutely. So how quickly did the idea to bring in other, real life people come to you?
Pretty quick. I mean, I used Billy because I like the idea of being able to have someone contemporary, so I could still tell some contemporary jokes with someone from his time. And I was like, well, who would look like the ideal? Who these people in Germany might go for? And like, the guy's cheekbones and his blonde hair. And plus, I mean, I don't know if you ever see the guy talk, but everything he says is the funniest shit in the world. So it's like, it was just, he would seem like he seemed like the perfect character, perfect guy to bring in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like when you're approaching a time travel comedy, there's so many questions of, loopholes and time warps. And what were some of the challenges that you faced addressing such a, like a complex launching point for a comedy?
Basically, well, one of the big things was the opening there. Like, so it's basically, it's like, I wanted to start like writing the action, but there's like, I should just kind of explain why this is, because as terrible as it is, it's like the premise. If there's no war, it's like no baby book. None of us are be alive.
Right.
So it's just like, it sucks that in the future, like you have to do this, but like if you don't protect the timeline, like everyone's gone. So it's all different people.
Yeah.
And it's like, it comes, if they ever came to series, it'd be a question of, does Casper make that sacrifice of, him for, this choice over that choice, stuff like that. But I try to make it simple. Like if you watch, like I think Looper it is.
I was literally going to reference Looper.
Yeah, so it's basically like just forget about it's like there's all these the paradoxes, this and that. It's like forget about it. It's just like it is what it is. This is the rule. This is how it is. This is what we're saying it is. And you just go with it. And like the science, like I had a bunch of fancy science for it originally, but then I'm like a big fan of Gattaca. And so it's set in the 20s there. So it's like the Art Deco thing. It was like, let's just make the science. He gets in an elevator, he pushes a button, he pops out in a dumpster. In 1928.
It's kind of like Get Smart almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just like there's nothing to have to answer if you say this is how it is. Like you can explain anything you explain how it works is gonna be bullshit on some level.
Right.
So let's just cut all of it away and just save money on special effects.
So yeah, I'm interested in the idea. If this were to go to series, do you picture the Austrian detail being the central conflict, or do you think you bring in other world tyrants, you bring in other...
I think, well, I mean, it could go, it could be different year by year type of, he could get a different assignment, this and that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want, depends how it would work out. You could spend years there.
Right.
But there's a big mystery there. So Hitler's in there, but like there's a mystery of Ott. And it's like, a mystery of why he's doing this.
Right.
So it's, as much as the job is protecting Hitler, it's also the story would basically be a lot of the mystery of what's going on, why is Ott disappeared, and then that reveals other facts of other people working towards other goals and who else is out, different, like a mystery story.
No, that's kind of the fun thing is if it's serialized, you do open up some other doors to explore who is Ott. Maybe even like why did Billy Idol specifically get caught in this time loop? Like, I think that's a hilarious.
That's a good idea. Yeah, basically, so it's like you watch like 24 and like the first 5 episodes or whatever be all about this one going after this one guy or this one thing. But then when you got to that guy revealed, it's a switch to So you'd have that. So you have like Ott as the first few few episodes of like tracking him down, what's his motivations, finding him, catching him, and then when you find out what's going on with him, it reveals a whole other twist, so the twist on.
Yeah.
So it's all serialized, yeah. So
there was a part of me that was excited about this romance between Billy Idol and Greta Garbo. I don't know if that's something you'd ever want to explore too, but
I mean, that's the with the time travel thing. You do it, at any time you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
What I think is so cool about this script is that you were able to find the balance, and you bookended the absurdity throughout with real and grounding points on the end. So in the beginning, you have the introduction of time travel and all that, which I think is great because it gets us all on board and in your world. And it's one of those things like, okay, cool, this has been said, so I don't have to think.
Yeah.
And then also like reading Hitler and his speech, and then like I know Roxy mentioned this, like it was like slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But what I love is that it was slightly uncomfortable. It should be. It's fucking Hitler.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But what I thought was so cool was the translating it into what that was with the sincerity and like the aggression of Hitler just makes it hilarious and also like it's very real.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it to the point of this guy's talking bullshit, and here let's really break down what this fucking bullshit he's talking about. He might as well be a man up there talking about the Easter Bunny and Germany being Candyland, and they're gonna win. We're gonna take Candyland back.
Yeah. Well, last night I went and I watched a Hitler speech. It was a 12-minute Hitler speech with American or English subtitles, and I was just like, this is like in reading what he was talking about. I was like, yeah, this is the Easter Bunny talking about taking over Candyland. You sound crazy.
Yeah.
You sound ludicrous.
Well, that's a big thing too. Like you watch like the Hitler speech and documentaries, everyone sees like just like gyrations in it, but when you look at the actual words, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're crazy.
It's crazy. So it's just like let's just make that as crazy as it can be, and because he deserves it. That's what it is, really.
So can we develop an app that will do that for Trump?
Yeah. I mean,
do we even need an app?
Yeah, it's basically what it is. It's one of the big things of the series. Like I said, I wrote it in 2015. When you kind of see this stuff coming on, it's like, you always say never happy to hear that kind of thing, but it's like, these people thought they're, these soldiers, people in Germany, they thought, they've been betrayed, they wanted their country back. It's a lot of similar rhetoric. Not saying that, people vote for Trump are, this thing, whatever. But, things can change, man. Things are normal. Germany's a very accomplished, very smart society, and then this happens, and it can happen anywhere, anytime. Not saying that that's what's going to happen, but just the tone and the rhetoric. It doesn't have to be a world war. It can just be, rights, all that stuff being taken away. So I see this as a way would be a good comedic counter to it. I'm sure there'll be plenty of it, but I mean.
Yeah.
Has anybody else read this? And if so, did you get any like lashback or anything from it?
No, I mean I have it on the blacklist and a bunch around. Everybody's lots of reviews. Everyone seems to like it. They seem to get it. It's a touchy subject.
It is, yeah.
But a South Park or Mel Brooks, it's like it's just sometimes it is our world, and sometimes you have to touch on the touchy subjects.
Yeah.
Well, I also think at this current time, you have shows that are kind of touching on it. You have shows like Man from the High Castle and such. Mm-hmm. So it's not unrealistic to be able to put a show up that does confront just the entire Nazi movement.
And frankly, maybe we need it a little bit. I mean,
You talked briefly about a feature early on that you had talked about all these things. Have you thought about turning this into a feature at some point? Or
I could, but features just seem so hard to get made. Yeah. I mean, they make 500 TV shows now. They make how many movies do they make? Right.
Yeah.
And frankly, from a writing standpoint, unless you have it could be a really good feature, but like the cream of writing right now is it's television
Yeah.
and telling stories and having long format to be able to do that and explore a lot of things. But I would. I mean, if anyone wants to buy it as a feature.
If you were going to do it as a series, like, where do you think you would want it positioned in terms of network? In terms of season?
Yeah, definitely like your pay
Yeah,
Netflix or HBO kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of great though, because I think a climate like today's TV landscape could be really interesting in a property like this. I don't know if 10 years ago executives would have been really excited about a script like this.
Yeah.
But I mean that as a compliment though.
Yeah.
Like, I think, a network like Amazon or Netflix is really taking risks on content like this.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
when you read it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
People will get it, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, obviously we did because we chose it as our second script to read in this series.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or an FXX.
That'd be great.
Like a Sunny type show.
Yeah, especially Man-Seeking Woman. They're doing a lot of really ballsy comedic stuff on that.
Well, the
network
best
right
about FXX is they just let they hire people to write shows and just let them write the show.
Yeah.
Isn't it great when they let you do that?
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's the secret of their secret sauce. And you know what? Stuff today too. Like everything doesn't have to be for everyone all the time too anymore.
Yeah.
I think the ratings aren't going to be huge for anything anymore. It's just a matter of like finding people. Is there an audience for your show? And if there is, they'll let you have it.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing that came up with the election of Trump, of kind of a lot of network heads being like, well, maybe we aren't catering enough to this certain demographic, and a lot of people were like having pushback of saying, no, you are. It's called CBS. It's fine.
Yeah. It's network television.
There's enough television for everyone.
Yeah,
you don't
there
have
is.
to like cater. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I've kind of found that can be the death of television, is trying to cater to everyone.
It is. I mean, it's you turn on. I don't want to dislike, but it's just like Seinfeld used to be on every Thursday night on a network.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's today's would you find that on a network?
Right.
It's changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's it's just they do what they have to do, and there's people have there's more avenues and people have more options to go out and find stuff. So you have to find your niche and try to hold on to it, I guess.
Absolutely.
I know that you asked if other people had read this before. Had you ever had it at a table read before?
Oh,
Have
no.
you seen it live?
No, it was great. Thanks. Oh, by the way, yeah, great job, Jess. I'm sorry. I should have said that right away.
Fishing.
I was just waiting for you to say something.
No, it was great. No.
Actors.
No, what I mean
Yeah.
though is like, since it's the first time hearing it, and obviously it's the first time for all of us hearing it out
Yeah.
loud. Is there anything you learned, or is there anything you wanted to change, or anything that didn't work for you?
I think a lot of it works. It's more of anything else. It's a reaffirmation of what I think works in it, and it does. And you guys did a great job of making that happen. So.
Well, you definitely, I love the comedy. I mean, like, you do a good job calling back to jokes.
Yeah.
A lot of rule of threes. It's a very tight, dialogue.
Yeah.
Obviously. So the script, it's just such a fun read.
Thank you.
Do you have any interest in German history and German culture?
I was
gonna
that's
say.
Czech. Yeah, I was telling her I'm Czech, Italian, Irish, which by its scientific name is known as an American, specifically from the Chicago region.
Nice.
No, but I'm a huge history buff and a huge World War II
Yeah.
buff. So I mean, I know all this stuff inside and out. It's funny, like my Netflix will be like I also like romantic comedies.
Nice.
So it'd be like Bridget Jones' Diary, Auschwitz, My Best Friend's Wedding, Blitzkrieg. It makes for awkward Netflix and chills. But no, I'm a big history guy, so I know a lot about all facets of World War II.
Have you thought at all about casting or anything?
Yeah, I mean, you always dream this and that.
Tell us your dreams.
We want people with real native accents for some of these
Yeah.
roles, right? So.
Gucci would be the guy who plays Stiglitz. His name's escaping me right now from what's it called? Stiglitz in Quentin Tarantino's.
Oh,
right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. He'd be great.
Not Jane.
You're
Oh,
talking
God.
about?
What?
Or no,
No,
Inglourious
remember.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Inglourious
Glorious
Bastards.
Bastards.
Yeah.
So something like that, or then like someone like Dan Stevens or someone like that. I think he could be fun. I think he's funny, underrated. Funny how funny he is for like the role of Casper. Or there's this guy. Again, his name's escaping me. Did you guys watch Scrotal Recall?
I actually didn't, but I heard it was
It's
good.
fantastic.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's the guy who's the second lead in it. He's just great. Someone like him would be great. But I'll if someone's gonna make my show, anyone who's in it, that's great. You guys are all in it.
Hey. I pictured maybe like a Jay Baruchel who's in Man Seeking Woman,
Yeah.
maybe for Casper, kind of that everyman kind of
Yeah,
guy.
it's type of guy, definitely. And people are surprised sometimes. I've worked on tons of pilots,
Uh-huh.
and it's just like you read stuff, and then like somebody comes in, and you're like, oh, you never would have thought of. And it's like they're actually perfect for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you think about the Jamaican choice?
Just awards, and it was going to be a worldly choice, and so it's going to be set in this world of Germany, whatever. So it's just like, I thought it'd be good to have more representation of the world, because that's that's how it works.
Right.
The one we currently live in.
Yeah.
I
thought she'd be funny. I mean, I thought she'd be.
She was.
I think it's a cool character.
Oh man, Jamaican's hard.
Yeah.
No kidding.
talk about your love of history. I love the idea of this, and when I read it, of being that every episode was different, and we get to know these time police, and that's different guys or girls that go through, and saying your love of history, and then to see the different actors that you could get or these characters throughout history. I remember a show, Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. And that was a one timeline, but we met Mata Hari and Elliot Ness.
That was a great show.
And history, but as history, you're kind of like, it was kind of dragged along. But this being comedy, it was history, and your love of history. I would love to see different time periods of these people. I think
You're
that
pitching Legends of Tomorrow.
I think
through a Mel Brooks film, which is
you can do it by seasons, or I think making history. I wrote this when I wrote this, everyone's like, I tried to send out to people, different agencies and networks are like, oh, no one wants time travel,
Right.
And then they bought like 9 time travel. But yeah, I definitely would. I mean, you can bounce around. It's time cop. Like all these, kind of these shows, they're
I was saying,
it's almost like even like a quantum leap type of deal, where it's just like you can kind of. Legends of Tomorrow has the niceness of having like 5 people that they can kind of deal with, but when you have the one person, I think you get to actually explore more history because you're just focusing on the one person.
And there's character development in this story, so it's like, and you could also, right now the plan would be like, this would be one season in Germany there, but it could also just if do seasons where it's 2 or 3 arcs of this point and there and there.
But your filter through this Mel Brooks filter, that
I
think separates for anything timeless that's out there in all these shows. But that's such a cool catch that keeps it interesting.
And it's complicated. It's a different.
It's not about like specifically talking about time travel. It's like you do the time travel and then we're in this new world. Which is nice.
The time travel isn't the story. It's not the premise of the show.
Just time travel and androids is all that is on TV right now.
I'm like, this would be a great sample. Maybe someone will hire me for their time travel.
Did I interrupt you, Tim? I feel like you.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any other questions while we're talking about? I love the script, obviously.
Thank you.
It's a great example of why specificity of voice and specificity of content make for such rich reading. So we'd love to see this live on screen.
So would I.
Well, I would think the dream for you would be, if you're a World War II buff, would be like producing it and getting like, a real Luger or something that just shooting it would be fun for that reason.
You go over there and do some shoot over in Europe if you could, research and it'd be great.
Yeah. That being said, with such a great script, when FXX wants to reach out to you and buy it, where can they find you?
I just my email.
Well, if you like a Twitter, is it?
Oh, Twitter, it's White Mark Attack.
Nice.
It's based on a shark, but I try to be clever like yours, but doesn't work as well, I guess. So it's the White Mark Attack. There's that, and then that's about it. You can find me on Facebook.
Great.
Scripts on the black. It's put it back up on the blacklist.
Great.
So you can search it there, and then.
Awesome. Well, again, Mark, such a wonderful script, so hilarious. It is fun to kind of get that madcap Mel Brooks thing back, because really, I can't think of a ton on TV that really is channeling that specific.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of TV. It's all good stuff, but some of the comedies, they're almost anti-comedies. But it's like there's not even joke. The underlying humor's there in the premise, and it's funny situations, stuff like that. But I like to tell some jokes sometimes.
Yeah, there is something kind of weirdly throwback about the way this feels, which I really like. Well, great. People can find Mark on White Mark Attack, and on the Blacklist would be a great place to find this website. For the rest of you guys, where can the people find you before we make our way out?
At Mike Kalinowski, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, at I am Timothy Mike.
At Miss Adrienne Snow.
You guys can find me at Andrew Guy.
I am at Haley O'Connor on Twitter.
I'm Roxy Stryer. You can find me at Roxy Stryer.
So basically, the clever name thing's gone. It's just all
names.
I never used Twitter. I mean, but basically, I see that I've missed out on.
You're catching on.
You can still change it. There's still time.
I like White Mark Attack.
That's great.
If you want to.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, guys, in the meantime, you guys can find me at Jeffrey C. Graham on Twitter. Real quickly, I do want to shout out, we printed our scripts today from ARA Printing on Burbank Boulevard. They have the best rates in town. So for any writers, actors, producers who want to make a lot of copies, I would highly recommend going to ARA Printing on Burbank Boulevard. The show that you all just watched or listened to is the Unproduced Table Read here on the Popcorn Talk Network. We go live every Friday at 10 a.m. reading amazing scripts, pilots, and features, so we'd love to see you here every week. If you hop in the live chat, you can ask questions to some of Hollywood's best writers. So we'll see you next week. If you like what you heard, go online, rate, like, and subscribe to the Popcorn Talk Network. We have other shows. Mike hosts one, Roxy hosts one, Andrew hosts one. We have a lot of synergy here. And you can check out other after shows on our sister network, AfterBuzz. In the meantime, guys, again, I'm Jeff Graham. You can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham, and we'll see you here next week here on the Unproduced Table Read. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.